In 1999, Tata Motors faced a collapsing passenger car division. Executives traveled to Detroit to sell the business, only to be met with derision from Ford's leadership, who questioned why Tata entered the passenger car market at all. 9 years later, the positions reversed. Tata Motors purchased Jaguar and Land Rover directly from Ford in a cash transaction valued at $2.3 billion. Today, Tata holds the position as India's second-largest passenger vehicle manufacturer and the absolute volume leader in the country's electric vehicle market. This trajectory demonstrates how a company engineered a culture where catastrophic failure became the technical blueprint for global expansion. The company's industrial capacity began in 1945. Originally named Tata Engineering and Locomotive Company, or TELCO, they built their early manufacturing infrastructure entirely around heavy railway equipment. By 1954, they pivoted those heavy manufacturing capabilities into commercial trucks through a strategic engineering partnership with Daimler-Benz. Decades of engineering commercial heavy-duty vehicles culminated in 1991 with the launch of the Tata Sierra. It was India's first entirely indigenous SUV. Before they ever attempted to build a mass-market commuter car, Tata had already spent nearly half a century proving they could engineer and manufacture complex, heavy-duty machinery from the ground up. In 1998, they took that engineering confidence to the global stage. They unveiled the Indica, India's first fully domestic passenger car, at the highly visible Geneva Motor Show. The actual market launch resulted in immediate disappointment. Buyers reported severe quality issues, critics were harsh, and the financial drain forced Chairman Ratan Tata to actively explore liquidating the passenger car division. Following the aborted sale to Ford, Tata executives chose to internalize the market's severe criticisms. They redesigned the vehicle's mechanics and launched the heavily updated Indica V2, which quickly became one of the highest-selling cars in the country. The turnaround of the Indica established a precise operational method within Tata. Severe market rejection would be treated strictly as raw data to engineer the next version. When the global financial crisis hit in 2008, capital shortages forced automotive giants to liquidate assets. Ford found itself needing to offload its premium luxury brands. Tata Motors capitalized on the industry contraction, acquiring Jaguar and Land Rover for a precise $2.3 billion. This financial area chart shows how that aggressive expansion paid off over time. While Tata maintained a steady domestic baseline, the JLR Acquisition eventually grew to generate the overwhelming majority of the company's consolidated global revenue. The massive cash flow from the British luxury brands provided total financial vindication against the executives who had dismissed Tata's automotive ambitions 10 years prior. Looking to capture the absolute bottom of the market, Tata launched the Nano. The vehicle was heavily marketed globally as the world's cheapest car. Consumers actively rejected the extreme cost-cutting. The label of cheap carried a severe social stigma, and early models faced intense public scrutiny over structural safety and engine fires. The resulting financial damage was immense. Dealerships struggled, corporate losses set records, and by 2016, Tata's domestic market share collapsed to roughly 4.6%. By prioritizing a marketing gimmick over the established feedback loop, Tata broke its own engineering cycle and brought the company to a point of structural collapse. Appointed in 2016, new CEO Gunter Butchek enforced a strict internal directive. The company would halt grandiose public promises and focus entirely on rectifying physical product quality. Engineering teams were ordered to utilize shared platforms across multiple vehicle lines, stripping out manufacturing redundancies and drastically reducing production costs. Under a strategy labeled New Forever, Tata prioritized physical safety structures and modern technology. This focus resulted in the Nexon achieving a 5-star rating from Global NCAP. By forcing their attention back to strict engineering standards and verifiable safety metrics, they erased the lingering perception of being a budget taxi manufacturer and successfully attracted premium consumer demographics. When the electric vehicle transition began, Tata avoided spending billions of dollars and years of development on a dedicated EV platform. Instead, they adapted their existing internal combustion vehicle architectures to quickly integrate battery packs. This modular, agile approach allowed them to move fast. The electrified version of the Nexon quickly secured the spot as the highest-selling electric vehicle in India. To support these vehicles, they leveraged their corporate network to build out physical infrastructure, with Tata Power laying down a dense network of charging stations. This ecosystem diagram illustrates the corporate integration. Tata Power handles charging hardware, Tata Elxsi engineers software, and Tata Capital provides financing. This unified structure allowed rapid scaling, resulting in over 304,000 cumulative EV wholesales and a peak of 92,000 units sold in FY 2026. Tata secured market dominance by engineering a self-contained corporate infrastructure that addressed charging, software, and financing in a single integrated loop. The results of this decade-long correction are clear in the data. From a devastating low of 4.6% market share in 2016, Tata firmly established itself as the second-largest passenger car maker in India. By the 2026 fiscal year, the passenger vehicle division crossed 631,000 wholesale units. To manage this scale, this corporate flowchart details the 2025 demerger. The restructuring clearly separated the commercial vehicle division from the passenger and JLR businesses. By isolating these divisions, each branch is now insulated from the other's legacy risks, allowing both to independently optimize their own operations and feedback loops. The financial and technical trajectory of Tata Motors relies on an institutional mechanism that treats every market rejection as actionable data. They faced the massive public rejection of the original Indica, the severe safety and marketing missteps of the Nano, and the near-total market share collapse of 2016. Instead of liquidating the division, executive leadership consistently fed those disastrous metrics back into their engineering and strategy departments to force immediate, calculated corrections. Market dominance ultimately rewards the organization that can process its worst failures and use them to construct a superior product. Energized, if you found this breakdown valuable, subscribe to Motograph India. Let us know in the comments, which specific Tata decision do you think changed the company's future forever?